They are off the A list, they're off the B list. I don't even think they make the C list anymore. So
you see, you really see now she's out of things, and it's her own fault because she's taking it too far, and people can see through her.
Poor old Meghan, in terms of this lavish wedding in Venice, would love to be there myself, by the way. I didn't make the guest list either, but Meghan will be dying a bit inside over this, no doubt about it.
This you're describing, Harry, is called being high. I mean, it brings new meaning to your highness. Exactly. I think that this is a big
name, your highness.
Is this Prince Harry's most damaging moment yet?
Other news today, more drama for Prince Harry and wife Meghan.
They had their HRH titles scrubbed from the royal family's website.
Prince Harry, this is probably one of the worst few months of his life.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
We all know the divorce is imminent. Things are not well in Montecito. Yeah. I'm just calling it now. It's on my card for 2025.
Oh, you say this is the year they divorce?
It's in my celebrity death pool, this marriage, for sure.
All they've done for 5 years is complain and moan and see themselves as downtrodden victims.
The timing of this was really interesting because all references, lingering references to Prince Harry and Meghan have been wiped from the royal family's website.
Was that Meghan's team had a conversation with a publishing house to gauge interest in the idea for a potential book, the concept for which there was no written or formal proposal.
Well, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have made their first public appearance together since reports emerged the couple were spending time apart.
On a trial separation after months of fighting. Sources close to the pair say the time apart is in the hope of rebuilding their bond after recent humiliation and deals falling through with Spotify.
She hasn't been seen wearing it for all of 2023 as far as I can tell, in paparazzi pictures and in some of the more high-profile events she's done, which are only a couple. We have not seen that ring, and I think that raises a lot of really interesting questions, especially given all the reports about the state of her and Harry's marriage.
All right, imagine this for a second. One of the world's most famous families, surrounded by cameras, titles, and centuries of tradition, suddenly faces a secret so big it could shake the entire royal foundation. Because right now, a woman out there isn't just whispering rumors, she's making a claim that, if true, could rewrite the royal story entirely. Her identity is hidden for now. She's only known by the initials DL, but what she's saying has people across the world watching every headline, waiting for the next revelation.
Poor old Meghan, in terms of this lavish wedding in Venice, would love to be there myself, by the way. I didn't make the guest list either, but Meghan will be dying a bit inside over this, no doubt about it.
According to DL, she isn't some anonymous surrogate, hired behind the scenes to quietly carry a child. She says it's far bigger than that. She claims she's the biological mother of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's 2 children, Archie and Lilibet. Let that sink in for a second.
You know, Meghan, how are you? And are you okay?
That's so kind. I am. I'm better than okay. How are you?
That smile's a little bit over the top. And that single shoulder shrug she has, that usually indicates that person isn't very confident with their answer or their statement.
DL says this wasn't a simple arrangement where someone carried the child and walked away. She insists these are her children. Her eggs, her body, her births. Now, before anyone jumps to conclusions, it's important to remember these are her words. The royal family hasn't confirmed or denied anything publicly. But the fact that these allegations are even being made, that alone has reignited questions people have whispered about for years. Because when it comes to the British monarchy, there are rules, ancient rules, especially when it comes to children who might one day stand in the line of succession.
Prince Harry, this is probably one of the worst few months of his life.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
And DL's claims, they could challenge every part of that system. But that's just the beginning. The deeper you look, the stranger this story gets. For most families, the birth of a child is a personal, private moment. But for the royal family, it's something entirely different. Because inside the palace walls, every birth isn't just about family, it's about the future of an entire institution. And that's where this story becomes so explosive. See, for a child to be in the official royal line of succession, to hold titles, to be recognized by the monarchy, tradition, and more importantly, legal precedent, say they must be born of the official mother, in this case, Meghan Markle. It's not just about biology, it's about legitimacy, a system built on centuries of bloodlines, carefully recorded lineage, and public records. That's why DL's claims have sent shockwaves through the press. If what she's saying is true, if Meghan didn't carry those children, it raises a tidal wave of questions. Do Archie and Lilibet hold their rightful places in the royal family? What happens to their titles? Could this create a constitutional crisis? It might sound extreme, but the rules around royal births aren't just tradition for show. They've shaped monarchies for generations. And even the smallest breach of that system, especially if hidden from the public, can unravel everything.
Meghan, how are you? And are you okay?
That's so kind. I am. I'm better than okay. How are you?
That smile's a little bit over the top. And that single shoulder shrug she has, that usually indicates that person isn't very confident with their answer or their statement.
Now, to be clear, none of this has been officially confirmed. But as more details from DL emerge, people are starting to look closer. And what they're finding? It's adding even more fuel to the fire. For years, the whispers about Meghan's pregnancies were dismissed as wild speculation. People brushed it off as internet gossip, fueled by tabloids and conspiracy theories. But that changed when DL stepped forward, because she didn't come empty-handed. According to sources close to the situation, DL claims she has the kind of proof that could silence doubts or ignite an even bigger scandal. We're talking about signed confidentiality agreements from late 2018, hospital admission records from Colorado, where she says the birth secretly happened, and not just paperwork. Digital records that allegedly tie her to Prince Harry and Meghan's inner circle, financial documents, timelines, private emails. DL claims it's all there. And if these so-called receipts become public, the conversation shifts overnight. It's no longer just speculation, it becomes a documented controversy. But here's where things get even murkier. DL says when this arrangement was made, two promises were given: absolute privacy and generous compensation.
Oh my gosh, look at all these photos about last night. ... Thank you, Beyonce and team, for an amazing concert and a very fun date night. All love. Girl, she didn't invite you to the concert.
She wants all of the privileges that go along with an identity, but she doesn't want any of the responsibility. She doesn't want to do any of the work. She wants the tiara. She doesn't want the public service.
She agreed to stay quiet, to disappear from the story, to let Harry and Meghan live their fairy tale while her involvement stayed hidden. But according to DL, that's not what happened. She alleges that after the children were born, the communication stopped, the payments halted, and instead of quiet protection, she was erased, wiped from the narrative entirely, as if she never existed. And that betrayal, it's what pushed her to come forward now. But that wasn't the whole story, because the suspicions surrounding this situation, they didn't start with DL. Now, here's the thing. DL's story didn't appear out of nowhere. For years, quiet questions have followed Meghan Markle's pregnancies. It started the moment the world saw those first baby bump photos. For some, it all looked normal. Glowing couple, growing family, happy headlines. But others noticed details they couldn't ignore. Videos started surfacing, showing Meghan's belly appearing to shift, fold, or crease in ways that didn't seem natural. Camera angles, wardrobe illusions, that's what the Sussex supporters claimed. But for skeptics, it fueled the suspicion. Then there was the secrecy. Unlike other royal births, there was no traditional hospital photo op, no clear public records, no official media moment outside a London hospital. Instead, the announcements were confusing, the timelines vague, details scarce, and each time questions were raised, they were dismissed as intrusive, even cruel. Back then, most people shrugged it off. Meghan, after all, was known for fiercely guarding her privacy. But now, with DL's claims in the spotlight, those old videos, those unanswered questions, are being revisited with fresh eyes. Suddenly, the odd moments, the bending belly footage, the missing hospital documentation, even the quiet edits on birth certificates, don't seem so easy to explain away. And for many, the pieces of this puzzle are starting to fit together in unsettling ways. But if DL is telling the truth, that means the deception may have started long before anyone realized, and possibly with more people involved than we thought. For years, Prince Harry has been seen as the rebellious royal, the one who broke away from tradition, left the palace behind, and fought to protect his family from the spotlight. But what if that image isn't the full story? Because according to insiders, Harry might not have been just an innocent bystander caught in the storm. Some now believe he may have been part of creating the storm itself. Think about it. If DL's claims are real, that means Harry knew there was a surrogate involved, knew the public was being shown one version of events, while the real story stayed hidden behind palace walls. Those glowing interviews, the moments he proudly rubbed Meghan's belly for the cameras, the beaming excitement about becoming a father, it wasn't just a celebration, it may have been a carefully staged performance. And if that's true, the consequences reach far beyond Harry and Meghan's reputations, because royal lineage isn't just a family matter, it's a legal foundation. One that defines titles, succession rights, and public trust in the monarchy itself. Sources say this is why Buckingham Palace insiders are panicking behind closed doors. It's not simply about parenting choices, it's about whether the rules were quietly bent or completely broken. And here's the harsh truth. If the public feels deceived, the fallout won't be confined to tabloid headlines. It could shake the monarchy to its core. But the deeper this goes, the more complicated it becomes, because official records suggest there may have been hidden steps taken from the very beginning. Now here's where things get truly unsettling, because if DL's claims hold any weight, this isn't just a family secret, it's a potential constitutional disaster. The British monarchy is built on one thing above all: bloodline legitimacy. Titles, succession rights, royal privileges, they all depend on provable, traceable lineage. And if Archie and Lilibet weren't born of Meghan Markle, and no formal surrogacy process was disclosed, that entire foundation could be shaken. It might sound dramatic, but experts say it's no exaggeration. Without clear documentation and legal transparency, the children's right to royal titles and even their place in the line of succession could be questioned. But that's not all. There's another strange piece to this puzzle. Remember when it was quietly revealed that Meghan's full name had been removed from Archie's birth certificate? Instead of Rachel Meghan Markle, the document listed only her royal title. At the time, people brushed it off as formatting, but now legal analysts are taking a second look, suggesting it may have been more than stylistic. Some believe it was a calculated step to distance Meghan's legal identity from the official birth record, to avoid raising any legal red flags if a surrogate had been involved. Of course, the Sussexes haven't confirmed that theory, but with DL preparing to release what she describes as undeniable evidence, the pressure is building. And behind palace doors, lawyers, advisors, and constitutional experts are reportedly scrambling, because the monarchy has weathered scandal before, but never one quite like this. But that's not the only strange shift happening, because the people at the center of this storm are suddenly disappearing. For a couple that once dominated headlines, red carpets, and primetime interviews, the silence right now is deafening. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, once the faces of royal rebellion and media control, have seemingly vanished from public view. And their absence, it's raising more questions than answers. Reports from those close to the Sussex circle suggest Harry's mental state is rapidly deteriorating. Allegedly, he's become restless, paranoid, and overwhelmed, constantly monitoring the media, barely sleeping, and clashing with Meghan behind closed doors about how to manage the growing storm. Sources claim he's pulling away from public life, not just to protect his family, but out of fear. Fear that the truth, or at least DL's version of it, is spiraling beyond their control. And as for Meghan, she's gone completely dark. No public appearances, no glossy magazine features, no carefully curated social media moments. For someone known to be meticulous about her public image, that sudden disappearance feels strategic, or maybe even desperate. Some say she's laying low to avoid legal exposure. Others believe she's regrouping, plotting her next move with the same precision that's defined her rise to global fame. But whatever the reason, one thing is clear: this isn't the usual media break. It feels different. And the longer the silence stretches, the louder the whispers grow, because the world isn't waiting quietly. Headlines are multiplying, old footage is resurfacing, and even their former supporters are beginning to distance themselves. But that's only part of the unraveling story, because the most powerful backlash may not be coming from the public, but from Hollywood itself. For years, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle were Hollywood's golden couple, celebrated, defended, and embraced by producers, activists, and influencers. But now, that once loyal media machine is sharpening its claws. Industry insiders say the shift has been quiet, but noticeable. The producers who once lined up to work with the Sussexes, silent. The activists who praised their boldness, now distant. Even the high-profile celebrities who shared their stages and photo ops are keeping their distance. Why? Because controversy spreads fast. And no one in the entertainment world wants to get pulled into a potential royal scandal of this magnitude. Behind the scenes, sources say some of their closest allies are panicking, worried they could be implicated. Who knew what? When did they know? Did they help shape the narrative? The speculation is growing, but the fallout isn't limited to Hollywood. Across the globe, the public trust the Sussexes once commanded, especially among younger, progressive audiences, is crumbling. Social media is flooded with replays of their past interviews. That now iconic Oprah appearance, it's being dissected frame by frame. People are questioning every tear, every story, every smile. Was it all part of the act? Because if DL's claims prove true, it wouldn't just mean a hidden surrogate. It would mean years of carefully constructed narratives built on a foundation that never existed. And with every passing day, the pressure mounts. But the biggest revelation may still be ahead. Because DL isn't done. She's preparing her next move. One that could turn whispers into undeniable headlines. DL, once just a shadow in the background, is now stepping fully into the spotlight. Reports say she's not planning to stay silent any longer. Instead, she's assembling a legal team, preparing a full reveal that could upend everything we thought we knew. What's rumored to be coming? Documented proof, timestamps, emails, contracts, even photos taken inside the hospital during what she claims was Archie's birth. If these materials surface, the story moves from the realm of gossip to undeniable fact. Experts suggest this could be the biggest royal scandal in decades, potentially triggering a crisis unlike anything Buckingham Palace has faced before. Royal advisors and constitutional experts are said to be working around the clock, strategizing damage control and legal responses. Because the stakes couldn't be higher. It's not just about 2 children or a family secret. It's about the very future of the monarchy itself. The traditional rules, the lineage, the succession, all could be thrown into question if DL's claims hold true in court. And while the world waits, the Sussex fairy tale that once captivated millions now shows undeniable cracks. But with so much still unknown, the biggest question remains: what will happen next? The silence from both the Sussex camp and Buckingham Palace only adds fuel to the fire. No official statements, no denials, just a growing sense of unease behind the scenes. Because time is running out. Whether DL's claims are ultimately proven right or wrong, the damage is already done. Public trust has been shaken, the carefully crafted image of Harry and Meghan is cracking. And the British monarchy, already navigating a delicate path in the modern world, now faces a storm unlike any before. Some experts even speculate that this could prompt a broader conversation in Parliament, among constitutional scholars, and within royal circles, about how succession rules apply in an era of surrogacy, fertility treatments, and privacy contracts. It's a debate the monarchy has never openly faced, and as the media circles closer, the pressure mounts for answers. Not just for the world, but for a royal institution that depends on certainty and tradition. So, what comes next? Will the truth finally be revealed? Will the monarchy adapt to a new reality? Or will this story fade into another chapter of royal mystery buried beneath palace walls? Only time will tell. But one thing is clear: the clock is ticking, and the world is watching.